Welcome to HP FanFiction. Support me by subscribing the channel. Also, like and share the video to keep me motivated to make more videos like these. When he went to sleep that night, he jokingly thought to himself that he was going to sleep for a couple of days at least, but he ended up waking up in the infirmary 4 days later, according to Madame Pomfrey. I must have been more exhausted than I thought. He wanted to leave, but the healer insisted on remaining for a few more hours at least. Not even 30 minutes had passed when he heard his sister and Ginny come inside the infirmary.
"No running in here,
young ladies," Madame Pomfrey scolded them. "Sorry," the two girls said in unison. Lyra saw him and hurried to his bed with long steps. "Hey there." Harry was somewhat worried about how they were processing the events of the other day. He wished he had been awake to talk with them before. To him, things like life or death situations or fighting giant monsters were nothing out of the ordinary. But for them, it was very different. He didn't know if their attitude towards him was going to change. They could start to become more distant or even afraid of him. "So Lyra, how are..." He could not finish getting his words out when his Juster jumped onto his lap and almost crushed him with a hug. "She has been super worried for you," Ginny said with a warm smile. "Oh no, I mean, we all were worried. You have been sleeping for a long time. 4 days. Not even Ron sleeps that long." He, Lyra," Harry called. You are crushing my neck." Sorry." She hurried to let go, and then he saw her cleaning some tears using the sleeves of her robe. Daphne was worried too, but she would never admit it. Lyra smiled. "The headmaster came to speak with us on the next morning after that day," Ginny said. "And what did he tell you?" Harry asked. He could already guess what he wanted. He had those conversations with the headmaster at the end of every year. He wanted to talk about what happened that afternoon. Lyra started. "We didn't want to say much, but the headmaster already appeared to know everything," Ginny exclaimed. "We were worried he was going to get you in trouble, but he promised that nothing bad was going to happen," Lyra added. "That's okay. I talked with him before coming to the infirmary that day. The headmaster was told everything that had happened." Harry reassured them. "That's a relief. I didn't know what we could say to him," Lyra said. "But the headmaster asked us to keep our little adventure as a secret to everyone else." Ginny frowned. "Right, he doesn't want anyone to know what happened." Lyra looked offended. "Yes, and that would be for the best." Harry nodded. Dumbledore's motives may be different than his own, but they could agree on that part. "But Harry, you are a hero." Lyra moved her hands for more emphasis. "That's right, you saved everyone. You could become famous for his like the boy who lived." "I mean Neville," Ginny said. "I have no use or desire for that kind of fame. I can assure you of that. Harry had enough of that in his past life. Nothing good comes from that. Ignorance is bliss, trust me." But neither his sister nor Ginny looked convinced by this. They did not understand why he didn't want to be famous like their Professor Lockhart or Neville. "Excuse me, Mr. Potter." Madame Pomfrey approached his bed. "The headmaster is here and wishes to speak with you." "Right, of course he is." He looked at Lyra and Ginny. "I'll be out of here in a few hours. We can talk more by then." The girls had no choice but to assent. They could not let the headmaster wait. After they left, the old man approached his bed with a warm smile. The weariness from the other day was almost gone. He also had a thick book under his arm. "I brought you some light lecture." Dumbledore placed a book on his lap. "You found it." Harry read the cover. "Time and Space." The title was vague and this book had no author. The reason was that the book was more of a compilation of different theories written by many different authors, and compiled by several important figures of the ministry. "Is this the one you were looking for?" Dumbledore asked. Harry nodded. "If the answers I seek are anywhere in Hogwarts, they must be in this book." "Glad to hear. You can have it for as long as you need, but don't let any other students see it." "Understood." "Oh, I also wanted to say that Fawkes had managed to revive yesterday. It seems like he will be making a full recovery." The headmaster smiled. "That's fantastic news," Harry said back. "It is indeed, and on another topic, I have spoken with your sister Miss Weasley and Miss Greengrass about what happened the other day." "Yes, they mentioned it. You told them to keep the whole thing about the chamber as a secret," Harry said. "Well, I agree. Is best if no one knows about this. No need to cause panic for no reason. Dumbledore appears to be surprised by his words. He was expecting Harry to complain about this. Wise words, Mr. Potter. But nonetheless I would like to tell you. Thank you for saving Hogwarts, Mr. Potter. Dumbledore had his best grandfatherly smile now. The world may not know about your deeds, but I will not forget them. And neither will those 3 girls. I'm looking forward to seeing what you accomplish in the future. The headmaster stood up and walked away. The future, huh? Harry glanced at the book again and read the title once more. Mr. Potter, you are free to go. Madame Pomfrey informed him. That's great news. Do you happen to know where my robes are? Harry asked. He currently wearing some white hospital robes. Yes, I'll bring them to you. Give me a minute. Madame Pomfrey turned around and left. A moment later he saw someone opening the infirmary door with a lot of care to not make much noise. She then slowly sneaked around while moving her eyes around. Harry smiled and kept the curtains of his bed close. The girl moved on her tiptoes with utmost care, and Harry kept quiet. Once she was very close and looking inside the curtains of the next bed, Harry decided to speak. You know, Daphne gave out a yelp of surprise. I'm currently the only patient, Daphne. There is no need to sneak like that. Potter. She turned around with a scowl on her face. She quickly recovered and cleared her throat. Is that so? I don't know what I wasn't sneaking around. She stood back up and pretended that nothing had happened, regaining her noble demeanor. She walked to his bed and glanced over at him with her usual calm expression. I heard that you had woken up, so I thought I would only be polite if I came to visit. Did you bring me anything? Excuse me. Daphne seemed confused. It is customary for the visitor to bring a small token to the sick person in the hospital. Harry wasn't sure if that was true, but he always enjoyed messing with this girl for some reason. Surely an educated heir of a most noble house already knows this. That's why I asked, what did you bring me? Of course I knew that. Hold on. She desperately looked for something inside her robes. Here you go. She placed a small box in his hands. Oh, a chocolate frog. My favorite. He grinned. Daphne was about to say something when she heard Madame Pomfrey approach. The healer glanced at her and raised an eyebrow. Mr. Potter, here are your things. These robes are very damaged though. I trust that you brought a spare set. Yes, I did, thank you, Madame Pomfrey. Harry told her. Well then, you can go now, and make sure to eat properly during the next few days at least. Madam, do you mind if I talk with my friend here for a few minutes before leaving? Harry requested. Very well, but don't take long. This is not a social gathering room. The healer gave him and Daphne a stern glance before she left. You wanted to ask me something before. Harry patted the bed next to him. You can sit if you want. Daphne glimpsed at the bed for a good second or two. No that's not I just wanted to say. Is okay, Daphne. Calm down. Harry placed a hand on her shoulder. Take control of your emotions with your acclimancy. Relax. She took a deep breath and closed her eyes. Okay, I'm better now. Good, then we can talk. How are you doing? Harry asked. I should be the one asking that, Daphne exclaimed. I don't know, to be honest. I still have nightmares about that monster chasing us. I see. Harry wondered if his sister and Ginny were also having nightmares. He did not consider it before, but perhaps it would be better to erase their memories of that day. It was still recent enough to do it. I can remove those bad memories if you want. You mean to obviate me? The headmaster gave us the same offer. He said that we were too young to deal with those things. Why did you reject him? Harry asked. Because I would also forget about what you did. I don't want that. Daphne raised her voice. Well, if you stick with me, you will eventually get used to pose. Harry told her, not thinking too much about the meaning of her words. You mean you are used to fighting monsters like that one? Daphne stared at him with her intense blue eyes. More than you are, at least. Harry gave her a mysterious smile but did not add anything else. Ugh, fine. Oh, by the way, the headmaster told us to stay quiet about what happened, Daphne said. Yes, Lyra already informed me about that. She seemed upset about it. What about you? It seems unfair to you, but you don't seem the type who likes to show off his capabilities in public, she stated. Should I be a bit more like Professor Lockhart then?
Maybe I should write a book about how I killed a few big snakes and be featured in the next Witch Weekly.
Harry gave her a teasing smile. Daphne made a disgusted face. Please no. He chuckled. If it makes you feel any better, I got a couple of decent rewards for my service to the school. Really? You had the headmaster pay you? How did you not end up in Slytherin? It was my second choice. Don't let anyone in my house hear you say that. Daphne muttered. Now, if you don't mind, I should get changed so I can leave this place, said Harry while he started to remove his hospital robes. Daphne hurried to turn around.
What are you doing?
I'll be outside. Harry waited for a moment until she was close to the door and took his burned robes. He opened the secret pocket and checked its contents. The box containing the basilisk eyes and the remains of his artifacts was still there. Good! He didn't think Dumbledore would go as far as to check his robes while he was sleeping, but didn't hurt to check. He finished dressing, took his book and left the infirmary. Daphne was waiting right outside. I thought you may have left. What if someone sees us walking together? Harry asked. I'll say that you were stalking me. Daphne gave him a fake grin before her expression went back to her usual one. You know, I was thinking about something. Harry stopped next to her and waited. This whole thing about obliviating us. Daphne glanced at him. What about it? Did you change your mind? Harry, have you obviated me before? Because I have some holes in my memories from last year. Daphne looked at him with suspicion. No. He walked away. Wait. She ran after him. Harry, I'm serious. Have you ever obliviated me? No. He walked faster. Hold. Look at me. Harry. December 1st. Harry entered the Great Hall on the next morning and went to sit at his usual spot, between his sister and Hermione. Good morning. There was a strain in his voice as he sat down. His muscles still felt sore and his chest hurt. This young body is still far from being completely developed. I must have pushed way past its limits that day. The good news was that Christmas break was around the corner, and he will have plenty of time to recover properly. Good morning, Harry. His sister Lyra greeted him. Morning, Ginny said before taking another sip of her juice. Harry, there you are. Are you feeling better now? Hermione turned to look at him. Yes, I'm all better. Harry wondered if the headmaster had come up with some excuse for his absence again. Hey, Harry, Lavender joined in. Your sister told us that you had a strong case of stomach cramps, was it? Hermione looked unsure. She said that you spent most of the day in the infirmary bathroom. Parvati added. Is this the Dungarian fever again? Asked Hermione with concern. Harry, I'm worried for you. Maybe you should change your diet. Harry glanced at his sister with cold eyes. Lyra made an apologetic gesture. Sorry, it was the first thing I could come up with, she whispered in his ear. Fine. He turned around to look at Hermione, Lavender and Parvati. In any case, I'm all better now, no need for details. Harry, you are finally back. The captain of the Quidditch team came walking towards him from the other side of the table. Say, how are you feeling? I was told you were very sick. Yes. I'm all fine now, Captain. Harry then realized why Oliver Wood was there. I missed a game, right? Oliver nodded with a sad smile. Against Hufflepuff. Yes, we had to use the reserve seeker for that game. And how did it go? Seeing the face Oliver was making, Harry already had an idea. The captain scratched his head and shrugged. We lost. Harry actually played better than expected, and even managed to stay on the broom the entire game. But I have to admit that Cedric Diggory is an amazing seeker. He ended the game in only 20 minutes. There wasn't much we could do, unfortunately. I'm sorry for not being there. It's okay, Harry, you were not feeling well, but I was wondering. We have a game against Ravenclaw next week, do you think? Of course, Captain. I'll be there, Harry assured him. Wonderful. I'll send you the training schedule. Oliver looked a lot happier as he left. That boy only cares about Quidditch, Lavender commented. That's too bad, he is kinda cute, Parvati added. Ignoring the girl's comments, Harry thought of something kinda important. I did assure him that I was going to play, but I have run out of brooms. I suppose that I could buy another one during the next break and use one from the school in the meantime. The brooms are old, but that should be good enough for one game. Harry, are you listening to me? He heard a voice to his right and turned only to find a frowning Hermione. Sorry, care to repeat? I was asking you if Lyra had given you the news about the tremors. The headmaster made an announcement a few days ago while you were in the infirmary, she asked. No, it must have slipped her mind. What did the headmaster say? He was curious to know what kind of excuse that man came up with to explain that. Then you will be glad to know that the tremors are officially over. Lavender leaned forward. Love, I was going to give him the news. Hermione huffed. The headmaster said the tremors were caused by some unusual planet alignment that was interfering with the castle wards and causing all the trouble. But that situation has already been solved, and there should be no more tremors. Thank Merlin. Parvati ad. Pav, Hermione shouted. A planet alignment, that's... Harry did not know what to say. That seemed like a poor excuse, but people seemed to believe it. I guess it goes to show how much influence that man has. But I can at least hope he consulted with Professor Sinistra. I went to the library and tried to find more information about planet alignments and their influence on wards, but did not have any luck. Hermione looked depressed. And you won't find any, Harry thought. He also said that we are not allowed to leave the castle for the rest of the week, Lyra recalled. We can't go outside? No, we can only visit the inner gardens. How boring. Lavender frowned. The headmaster said that it was for our own protection, until the wards recovered. Apparently there was some damage on the outside of the castle too. He assured us that it would only take a bit longer. Hermione hurried to say, he probably said that to give Snape the time to fix the damage done to the landscape by the basilisk. Harry concluded. Well, it's not like we can go anywhere interesting. At least until next year when we can finally visit Hogsmeade. Parvati said with excitement. That's right, I had forgotten about that. Lavender cheered up immediately. We can start going on dates. Dates? Hermione looked alarmed. Lyra gave a mischievous smile and got closer to him. Oh? What about you, Harry? Are you planning on going on many dates next year? Harry sighed. Please, leave me out of this conversation. Is there someone inside the office? Harry asked. The headmaster is currently by himself. The gargoyle answered. That's good then. Open up, he told it. That is not the correct pass. The gargoyle stopped talking as the structure started to spin around, revealing a set of stairs. Harry went up and found Dumbledore writing something on his desk. Mr. Potter, it is very impolite to enter someone's office without permission, he said without lifting his eyes off the paper. But I brought you lunch as compensation for my rudeness. Harry sat down in front of Dumbledore. There is something I need and I forgot to ask the other day, Harry added. Dumbledore lifted his face from the papers, looked at Harry, and then at the table. And where is this lunch that you mentioned? He observed the empty table with an unimpressed face. Right, hold on, Pipsy. Harry turned around and called. Nothing happened. I don't think we have an elf with that name, Dumbledore commented. Papsy Pasty, how was it again, Paspy? Harry keeps saying names. You are starting to sound like Professor Lockhart when he tries to improvise a spell. Dumbledore smiled. Aha! Harry pointed his finger at the headmaster. So you knew he was useless. He was also my only candidate, Dumbledore said. Now about this lunch. Pisky. Harry just recalled the correct name and an elf appeared in the room. Master called? Yes. Remember that lunch I ordered before when I went to the kitchen? Can you bring it here? Master never order any lunch from Pisky. The elf made a troubled face. I don't think you called the right elf, Dumbledore pointed out. Oh, come on now, Harry sighed. Pisky, can you bring us some sandwiches, juice, and some of that delicious chocolate pudding, please? The headmaster requested. Of course, headmaster. The elf disappeared with a pop. Somewhere in the castle there is an elf waiting with my lunch, Harry muttered. Oh well. He stood up and walked to the phoenix stand. Fawkes glanced at him and gave out a cry. The creature looked a lot smaller now and only had a few feathers. Hey Fawkes, doing well? Fawkes gave out a happy cry. Glad to hear. Harry grinned. He should be completely recovered in 6 or 7 more days. I believe it was a good thing you managed to collect all of his ashes, Dumbledore commented. He helped me out quite a bit, is the least I could do. A pop was heard and 2 trays with food appeared on the table. Harry went to sit down. So, about my request, Dumbledore raised his hand. Before that, I would like you to promise me to not come into my office unannounced again. And no, the lunch that you didn't bring doesn't make up for that. Very well, I will not abuse my authority to enter your office, Harry swore. I rather you didn't abuse it at all. The old man frowned. Harry looked at him with an impassive expression. So about my request, I need a new wand. Your wand is broken? Did it get damaged during your fight with the beast? I'm sure Mr. Ollivander can repair it in no time. It didn't get damaged. The wand is gone, and so is the core, Harry said. Gone? How is that possible? Are you suggesting a complete disintegration? The headmaster became more interested. Yes, I'm going to need everything new. Ollivander is not going to like that. He's going to want to know how it happened, Harry said. And how did it happen? Dumbledore asked. I channeled too much magic in a very short amount of time. Harry gave him a vague answer. I see. The old man did not miss this. He wanted to ask more, but it was obvious that Harry did not feel like saying much. In that case, you will need a new core. Dumbledore's eyes moved towards the phoenix perch. I'm sure Fawkes would gladly donate one of his feathers for such a cause. He seemed to have grown fond of you. However, it will take at least a week before he is ready to do something like that. A week? I supposed I can wait a week, said Harry. At least if he goes back with a core, Ollivander will complain less. That will still leave the matter of his secondary wand. He cannot reveal that to the old man. Having 2 wands is not exactly legal, especially for a student who has yet to pass his OWL. If I recall correctly, there is a duo of talented wand makers in Spain that I could visit during the summer vacations. Harry recalled, and they could make me something capable of channeling more magic than a normal wand. It would be worth the wait. What about your classes? Would you be okay without a wand? Asked the headmaster. I just tell them my wand broke and can't do any practical work. It should be fine for a few days. Very well then. There are still 2 weeks left before the break. You should have your new wand before that. I assume you have no more requests. The old man gave him an intense glance. Come on, Professor. It's not like I ask for much after saving the bloody school. Language, Mr. Potter. You are still a student here. Right, how are things going with the basilisk materials? I would also have those stored at home during the break. Severus is about to be done with the reparations to the outside. Then he can go down into the chamber and process the 2 beasts. It may take a few more days. He is working hard, huh? Does he know it was me? Harry asked. No, I decided to keep your involvement a secret from both Professor Snape and McGonagall. The fewer people who know about your true nature, the better. I already have a hard time understanding the current situation myself. Cannot imagine having to explain it to others. Dumbledore sighed. Welcome to my world, said Harry. Harry stumbled upon a familiar blonde on his way for dinner. Hello, Harry Potter. Luna looked at him with her usual distracted demeanor. Hey Luna, are you going to the hall? She nodded. Then do you want to accompany me? You can sit at the Gryffindor table. Harry offered. Is that really okay? I don't want to cause you trouble, Harry Potter. Is no trouble, and call me Harry. All my friends call me that. Is this a date? Because Daddy told me to at least wait until next year for those. Luna gave him an intense glare. No, and he should have told you to wait much longer than that. Harry sighed. What are you thinking, Xenos? That's okay then. Luna got closer to him and waited. He realized she was waiting for him to walk. Let's go then. When the duo entered the Great Hall, the place was almost full. A lot of the students at the Gryffindor table stared at them when he brought Luna and had her sit between him and Lyra. Harry, that girl is from Ravenclaw, Hermione whispered to him. And you think I didn't notice that? Harry raised an eyebrow. Luna, Ginny called. Harry, she can't be here, you are going to get her in trouble, Lyra told him. Did none of you read the rules book? Harry asked, with incredulity. I did. Hermione looked offended at the mere insinuation. Then, what are the rules about sitting in the Great Hall? Let's see. Hermione put all her focus on recalling the exact words. All students must sit at their respective house tables during the opening and closing events. as well as special celebrations like Halloween. See? On normal meals you can sit at any table you want, Harry told them. Is true, she can totally sit here. Fred Weasley spoke from the other side. Yes, but don't go to the Slytherin table for reasons, George added. Wait, so it's allowed then? Asked Lyra. Of course, I usually go to the Hufflepuff table. I have some good friends there, Angelina Johnson commented. You also go for the cute boys, don't tell me otherwise. Alicia Spinnet bumped her elbow. Whoa there, you have plenty of cute boys here in the Gryffindor table, Fred complained. Yes, like my brother over here. George pointed to Fred. Look at that handsome face. You won't find another one like that in the school. Please, ignore my brothers. Ginny looked embarrassed. What is she doing here? Ron had just realized what was going on when he finished his first plate of food. Ignore them all, Ginny pleaded. Well, this is fun. We can visit the other tables. Maybe next time we can go to the Ravenclaw table with you. Luna, Lyra exclaimed. I don't mind. I always welcome the company, Luna answered. Okay, so no more complaints. Can I eat in peace? Just as Harry asked this, something fell from the sky and landed on his pumpkin juice, splashing most of it on his face. Apparently not, Harry grumbled. What was that? Hermione shouted. Something landed on your plate, Luna pointed. Thanks, Luna, Harry said. It landed on several plates. Lyra took off a handkerchief and gave it to her brother. Whoa, that thing is huge. What did you get? Ron watched with interest. After unceremoniously dropping its parcel, the owl landed on top of it and started at Harry. What? Don't tell me you want a reward for your fantastic job. Harry stared at the owl with angry eyes. Don't be cruel, maybe as an old owl. Hermione grabbed a few pieces of meat from a nearby plate and handed them to the owl, who quickly took them in its mouth and flew away. I hope you choke. Harry gave it some last words before it parted and moved his attention to the parcel in question. As Ron pointed out, it was very big, almost 80 inches too wide and covered with an expensive-looking velvet blanket. Are you going to open it here? Hermione asked. No, Harry said dryly. He had just wanted to eat in peace, and now he had to deal with this. Come on, you have to open it. I want to know what's inside, Ron shouted. That fabric looks like a good quality silk, Parvati said, as she ran her fingers over its surface. This has to be something expensive, Lavender commented. Could it be from Mum and Dad? Lyra asked. That would make no sense. We are going home for Christmas in 2 weeks. If they wanted to give me a present, it could wait, said Harry. There is only one way to know, Ginny said. She was obviously very curious too. Fine. Harry went to rip the fabric to shreds when he was stopped by Parvati. Don't break it, you brute. Let me open it. She took his hands away and carefully removed the cloth, revealing a box made of some highly polished dark wood. What a beautiful box, Lyra pointed out. There is a mark on the top, Hermione said. Wait, that symbol. I know that one. Ron shouted. A beautifully decorated nun was on top of the box. Next to it was a white note. That's a nimbus, Fred observed. Not just any nimbus, look at the number, George added. The number 201 can be seen next to the letter N. A 2001? It just came out today, Angelina exclaimed. Someone must really like you, Harry. Alicia whistled. The sender placed a note. Lavender pointed at the piece of paper. Harry took the note aside and opened the box. A brand new Nimbus 2001 was resting inside. Its wood was glistening and its runes were so shiny that it almost looked alive. Lots of "oh" and "ah" could be heard on the table. Harry, that's an incredibly expensive gift. Who sent you that? There was a hint of concern in Loris's voice. Even at her age, she was taught that people who send you expensive things is usually because they expect something big in return. What does the note say? Asked Ginny. This is an invitation to a birthday party at the end of the year. Harry glanced at the name and it all made sense now. From who? Asked Hermione.
Pansy Parkinson,
Harry said. Parkinson? Hermione asked. That pompous girl from Slytherin, Lavender said. Harry stared at the invitation card. There was no address written on it. Instead, it had instructions about the day and hour that the invitation had to be used. This is a port key. Harry concluded. A portkey to an unknown location, owned by the man who tried to have his mother kidnapped and his father killed. Harry, you are not planning on going, right? His sister asked. I don't like that girl. Of course, he is not going to go. That's a bloody snake, Ron proclaimed loud enough for most of the hall to hear. Ron, you are being extremely rude, Neville called him out. And this is for Harry to decide. It's not our business. Yes, Ron. And besides, not all Slytherins are bad people, Ginny told her brother with a face of disapproval. She had at least got to know Daphne a bit. She didn't look that bad. If you are not going to attend, I don't think you should keep that gift. Parvati pointed at the box. I don't think you should accept a gift this expensive regardless if you are going or not, Hermione suggested. No way he is giving that back. Are you crazy? Ron could not believe what he was hearing. I wasn't aware that you knew Parkinson, Lavender told Harry. I don't think I ever saw the two of you exchange more than 2 words. Now that you mention it, me neither. But then why would she send him all of this? Hermione wondered. Oh, Mr. Potter, have you been doing something in secret with a certain Slytherin girl? Parvati said with a teasing tone. Lyra, lend me your wand, please. Harry completely ignored everyone's comments. Oh, okay. Lyra was confused for a moment, but then she remembered that Harry had lost his wand the other day. He also asked to use hers before apparating them into the castle. She took her wand from inside her robes and handed it over to her brother. Just a year and a half ago, she could never have imagined doing something like this. But things have changed a lot since then, and she now had complete trust in Harry. Harry took Lyra's wand and molded his magic in order to create a mild connection with it. Reducia, he said as the wand tapped on the wooden box. The box shrank in size until it was no bigger than the case for his glasses. Harry stored the box, along with the invitation, inside his robes. He then pointed the wand at himself. Turgor, the juice remnants disappeared from his face and clothes, restoring them to a pristine condition. Finally, he returned the wand to Lyra, while everyone at the table watched him with a dumbfounded expression. Whatever I do in respect to this invitation and the gift is for me to decide, and is no one else's business. Did I make myself clear? The seriousness in his voice and his expression got everyone nervous, and they all nodded at his question without thinking about it, feeling like they had just been scolded by one of their parents. Harry's countenance relaxed and returned to normal. Now, let's see. Pepsi, what was the name of that elf? Harry's spilled cup was instantly replaced by a new one, and a fresh plate with food appeared in front of him. Ah, wonderful. How efficient, Harry smiled. Now I can finally eat. On the next day, Harry was approached by 3 Slytherin girls after classes were over. Good evening, Mr. Potter. Do you always act so formal, Parkinson? It must be tedious. Harry glimpsed at the black-haired girl. Next to her were Daphne and Tracy. It is a small price to pay for being the heir of a powerful family. I'm sure you understand that. Pansy said with her usual haughty look. Not really. My family doesn't follow the old traditions. That's a shame. My father always says that without those traditions, we would be no different than the savage muggles, Pansy commented casually. Well, there is also our magic. But never mind that. What can I do for you 3 ladies today? To the point, very well. Pansy nodded. I wanted to make clear that there are no strings attached to the gift you received. Whether you decide to attend my party or not, the broom is yours to keep. Of course I would be delighted if you attended, and my father has expressed interest in meeting the person who saved my life too. Lord Parkinson wants to meet me, Harry stated. He does, so it would be great if could attend, but is up to you, Pansy added. I'll be there. Harry's answer seemed to take the 3 girls by surprise, who didn't expect him to agree so quickly. Of course, none of them knew that he had an ulterior motive for this. But I must say this, did you have to deliver it in such a public way? Pansy grinned. I don't have to hide from anyone. Those who have a problem with my actions can take the complaints to my father. She glared around at the onlookers, and these were quick to look away. In any case, I'm glad to hear that you will come to my party. I will be seeing you there then. Goodbye, Mr. Potter. Goodbye, Parkinson. And you too, Greengrass and Davis, said Harry. The 2 other girls returned the courtesy. Potter, Tracy nodded. "Ha, Potter." Daphne almost slipped. While the three of them left, Harry remained in the same place. There was a blonde boy who had been closely listening to their entire conversation, without taking his eyes off him. The boy waited for the three Slytherin girls to be far enough and came out from around the corner with an angry expression. "Potter. Potter? Wait right there." The blonde boy was filled with righteous fury. "Yes," Harry responded calmly. "Stay away from her," he shouted. "Who are you? Shouldn't you at least introduce yourself before demanding things from others?" Harry of course knew who this was, but they had never been introduced properly. "You know me. I am Draco Malfoy." The blonde looked very offended at not being recognized immediately. "Right, we are in the same year, and what did you want again?" he asked with a tone of disinterest that seemed to elevate his anger. "Stay away from my fiancée." How did I end up in the middle of some teenage drama? Harry wondered. "Your fiancée? I assume it was one of the three girls that just approached me, yes. He was doing it on purpose now." "Yes, Pansy Parkinson, stay away from her if you know what's better for you. She is mine," Draco screamed. Harry felt the eyes of many students who had remained behind to watch the spectacle. "Okay, calm down. From what I understand, your engagement to Parkinson was concluded. Am I wrong?" Harry asked. "So what? Lord Parkinson made a mistake. She was already contracted to marry me. He cannot change that now. She is mine," Draco shouted. "The fact that you keep repeating that says otherwise, but I have no interest in interfering in whatever this is, so leave me out of it," Harry requested politely. "She gave you an expensive gift and invited you to her party. You expect me to believe that there is nothing there? You are obviously trying to woo her and climb the political ladder with a marriage between your houses." Draco approached. "That is very specific. It seems like you are projecting, Mr. Malfoy." "That's it. I challenge you to duel for her." Draco pulled out his wand. "Excuse me?" Harry raised an eyebrow. "I must have misheard you." "A duel, Potter. You and I. When I win, you will swear to stay away from my pansy. What do you say?" "No," Harry said with an impassive gaze. "You can't say no. What are you, a coward?" Draco was not expecting his denial. "I have no interest in you or Thea." "He is no coward." Ron came running to his side after getting tired of watching. "Harry is going to kick your ass, and I will be his second," the redhead boy said with conviction. "Ron, stay out of—" "Ron is right. Well, support you, Harry." Seamus interrupted him. "We'll help you prepare if you need." Neville was trying to help. "That's better. The duel will take place tomorrow after classes, in the dueling club. You better not run away from this, Potter, or I'll make sure everyone knows your family is filled with cowards." Draco walked away with a satisfied smug. "Sigh, why did you have to do that?" Harry wanted to strangle Ron at this moment. "It's going to be okay, Harry. Malfoy is all talk," Ron said. "Yeah, I bet he doesn't know more than 3 spells," Seamus added. "But be careful in case he summons that snake." Neville looked somewhat fearful after recalling that. "Harry, is it true?" Hermione approached him before dinner. "Are you going to duel Malfoy? Are you really going to duel that prick so you can date Parkinson?" Lavender asked. "Is that what you heard?" Harry asked. "There are a lot of rumors circulating the halls right now," said Lavender. "Yes, and most of them were started by you." Parvati gave an accusatory glance. "I can't help it. I'm a romantic. 2 men fighting for a woman is too much." Lavender made a dramatic pose. "It's not 2 men and they are not fighting for Parkinson," Hermione exclaimed. "Right?" She looked at Harry. Harry wanted to roll his eyes. He felt the attention of the entire school on him during dinner. And the next day was more of the same. Everyone in class keeps stealing glances at him and whispering. Draco was giving his typical smug smile. For a moment Harry felt that he was back in his original second year, once more under the judgmental eyes of a castle filled with teenagers. And he did not like it one bit. "I'd rather fight that basilisk again." When classes were over, everyone was looking at him. "You think he is going to fight Malfoy? He may run away." "I wouldn't want to fight Malfoy either. He has a dangerous look." He heard the mutterings of his classmates as he made his way out. Once outside he found the not-so-golden trio. "Ready, Harry?" Seamus asked. Of course he is ready, ready to punch that smug smile out of Malfoy's face. Ron said with excitement. Is going to be okay, Harry. Neville tried to sound reassuring. Let's get this over with, Harry said. He wished for things to go back to normal as soon as possible. The group entered the dueling club. The massive classroom was filled to the brim. Not even the first class had this many students in there. Harry noticed that this time they had made a more elaborate circular platform in the middle of the class. On top of it were Professor Lockhart and Professor Flitwick standing in the middle, and Draco Malfoy waiting patiently on one side. There he is, the awaited opponent has arrived, Lockhart shouted while making a dramatic posse. We can begin this duel for love. Let's go, Ron said with enthusiasm while he followed Harry to the arena. He climbed onto the platform and looked around. Harry spotted his sister along with Ginny and Luna standing close to the platform. Hermione, Lavender and Parvati were also close by. And on the other side, he saw 3 Slytherin girls looking with interest. Are you ready to start, Mr. Potter? Asked Professor Flintwick. Yes, let's get this. Wait a minute. I don't have a wand. Harry just realized. You don't have a... I remember that you mentioned it before. Your wand is being repaired at the moment, Professor Flintwick said. By Merlin. This is a serious problem. What is it? Is this contestant not ready, perhaps? Lockhart approached to ask. Mr. Potter is fine, Professor. Hold on. Harry walked to his sister's group. Luna was the closest one to the platform. She was holding her wand over her ear like he remembered her doing during her school years. Harry knelt down and took the wand out. I need to borrow this for a minute. Luna. That's fine. She didn't seem to mind at all. Mr. Potter, you can't just borrow someone else's wand and expect it to work for you, Professor Flitwick said calmly. He thought that a second-year student may still not understand this. You don't have a wand? What is this? What a poor excuse, Potter. Malfoy frowned, thinking that Harry was trying to run away from the duel. I bet he broke it himself to get out of the duel. Some of the Slytherin students started to laugh. Harry held Luna's wand in his hand and formed a connection with it. Most people believe that wands are sentient and choose their masters, but in reality is nothing like that. Wands are more similar to gloves with very specific measurements. Once a person finds one that fits well enough, the wand will bond with the user. This is like making the glove adapt perfectly to the shape of your hand up to the last fraction of an inch. This will make it so no one else in the world would be able to use that wand like the person who bonded with it. However, by taking control of your magic, it is possible to adapt it just enough to fit the glove, and thus make use of someone else's wand. This was no unique ability. Most adult wizards are capable of doing this to a certain degree. Many advanced sorceries require the wizard or witch to have a great deal of control over their magic and be able to shape it at will. However, the branch of magic that requires the most control is transfiguration, and that was something that Harry excelled at, having been born with a natural talent for it, and being trained by 2 of its greatest masters. Harry had taken this branch of magic to another level over the years, and his control over his own magic was such that even if the wand had a will of its own, it would not be able to distinguish between Harry and its original owner. A wave of electricity and wind came out of Luna's wand as Harry was holding it. Professor Flitwick took a step back in shock, for he knew what that meant. A perfect match? But that wand already has an owner. That's impossible. What was that? Lockhart almost fell to the ground. Draco panicked for a moment and considered if this had been a good idea. But he reminded himself that at this point there was no going back. He had to commit until the end. I am ready, Professor. Are you going to make the announcement? Harry asked with urgency. He wanted to finish this in a quick but also effective manner, so Draco would leave him alone from now on. Yes. One moment. Flintwick walked toward the center. The rules of this duel are simple. No use of any dangerous magic or any magic deemed illegal by the Ministry. The duel will continue until one of the duelists is unable to continue or until I, the judge, determine that the winner has become clear. He looked at both Draco and Harry until they nodded in agreement. I believe this duel has some additional stakes, Mr. Malfoy. Professor Lockhart addressed Draco. Yes, when Potter loses, he can't talk or be close to my fiancé anymore, Draco announced loudly. I'm not your fiancé anymore, you blasted idiot. Pansy shouted at him. And you, Mr. Potter, in case of your victory, what would you demand of Mr. Malfoy? Lockhart addressed Harry now. Just don't talk to me ever again. That would be enough, Harry declared. Agreed then, we can commence. Master Flitwick. Lockhart glanced at the small professor. Flitwick held his wand upwards. When the light touches the platform, you may begin. He cast a ball of light that flew in the air and started to slowly descend upon the platform, right in between Draco and Harry. When this one was just a few inches away, Draco made his move. Densajo, Mr. Malfoy, Flitwick shouted. Draco had started too early. Cheater, several students screamed. A flash of light approached Harry's face. He just tilted his head slightly and let the spell fly by him. Then he started to walk towards Draco. Flitwick never made a rule that forced them to remain away from each other. Draco saw Harry avoid his spell and frowned, but was not deterred. Sapon Sorcia. Draco conjured a big green snake in between them. Harry did not stop walking. Depulso. With a flick of his wand, the snake went flying back at Draco before it had time to hiss. Draco screamed in fear as the snake started to wrap around him. It was a good thing he had learned to cancel the spell this time. Professor Snape made sure of it. The snake disappeared, and Draco let out a breath of relief, but then realized that Harry was getting dangerously close to him. He didn't know what his opponent was planning, and that made him worried. Stay away, Stupefy. A red light came out of the tip of his wand and he saw it impact on Harry's chest. He was about to grin and celebrate his victory when he heard a loud commotion of gasps and shouts. What is it? The red spark of light was held in place at the tip of Harry's wand. From where Draco stood, it appeared Harry had suffered a clean hit, but he quickly realized that if Harry had been hit, the red light from the spell should have dissipated. What is this? Draco didn't understand how Harry was holding his spell in such a way. It was something he had never seen before. In fact, of all the people in the room, only the two professors and the few seventh-year students who came to watch were familiar with this technique. During seventh-year defense against the dark arts, students are taught about two defensive moves that one could perform during a fight. One was deflect, and the other was hold. To deflect, one must create a protective layer around the wand, like a miniature Protego charm, and use it to bash spells away. This allows for a gain in tempo, as the caster can use the momentum to throw their own spell while the opponent is recovering. The hold version is considered a lot more advanced. One needs to create the charm in a very specific shape to contain the opponent's magic. A slight mistake could lead to the spell detonating in one's face, and because of this the hold is considered a much more dangerous option. That downside leads people to prefer deflecting spells or simply dodging them, while hold is rarely used, not even in professional dueling. The fact that Harry had opted for this was a show of how confident he was in his own abilities. Impressive, Mr. Potter. Professor Flitwick appeared delighted. Which is exactly what they were expecting Harry to do next. Instead, Harry gave the wand a swift flick, sending Draco's stunning spell flying toward the upper part of a wall, where it fizzled and disappeared. However, Harry knew enough about Draco's personality to understand that ending the duel at that point would not have been enough to convince the boy to leave him alone. Had he left it like this, Draco would come up to him the next day claiming that he got lucky and demanding a rematch. What kind of trick was that? Draco demanded to know. Harry ignored his questions and continued walking towards Draco. He was now just 5 feet away. The Slytherin boy was going into panic mode. His pupils were dilated, and his body was shaking. His eyes, why is he looking at me like that? I have to. Draco gazed upon Harry's intensely bright green eyes. He recognized the look Harry was giving him. It was the same look that Draco gave to all those from inferior backgrounds than his own, a look of complete indifference, something he reserved for those beneath his notice. Draco clenched his teeth as rage tried to replace his fear. I won't allow him to look at me like that. I am Draco Malfoy, don't look down on me. He made a slashing motion across Harry's face. Defindo. Draco put as much magic and rage into that spell as he could muster. He wanted to cut Potter's face, maybe even cut his head if possible. Consequences be damned now. Harry didn't even flinch. As soon as Draco started moving his wand, he was ready to counter his spell. He followed Draco's motion with his wand, and as the cutting charm left Draco's wand, it was immediately grabbed by Harry's. This time Harry did not send the spell away. With a follow-up upward slash, he flung the cutting charm at its new target, Draco's wand. The charm had enough potency to cleanly cut the wooden wand, along with the tip of one of Draco's fingers. The blonde boy screamed as he fell down on his butt. Draco looked up and saw Harry towering over him, his wand aimed directly at him. The Slytherin boy could not take his eyes away from Harry's. The bright green color of Harry's eyes reminded Draco of the killing curse right now. He would never forget the day his father demonstrated this curse to him. He was told it was forbidden by the ministry, but he would need to learn it regardless. His father told him that this was a very important spell to know, along with the other two unforgivables, and that all proper wizards should have mastery over them. Draco listened to everything his father said. He wanted to be a proper wizard like him one day. At that time the green light brought Draco a feeling of joy, but now it made him feel nothing but dread. He is going to kill me, Draco thought as he stared into Harry's eyes. Pure white light appeared at the tip of Harry's wand. Reducto. No! Draco yelled. This is it. I'm really going to die, he thought. Mr. Potter, stop, Professor Flitwick yelled as he pulled out his own wand. Daddy, Draco called with a loud scream. Just joking, Harry said, with a grin. All the pressure and dread that Draco was feeling disappeared all of a sudden. Incarcerus. As Harry cast the spell, a white rope came out of his wand and wrapped tightly around Draco, preventing him from making a single move. That was too much, Hermione complained. That was just right, Seamus argued with her. The group was sitting on the inner garden benches, having a discussion after the duel had concluded. I still can't believe that Malfoy pissed himself like that, Lavender commented with amusement. Usually I have to invent rumors like those. That was not funny, Lav. Hermione looked upset at her friend. That was hilarious. Ron, on the other hand, found the situation really amusing. I don't mind that, but cutting his finger was a bit. Neville made a complicated expression. That was an honest accident, said Harry. Had he been holding the wand correctly, his finger would have been fine. I'm sure Madame Pomfrey fixed that in a minute. Wouldn't worry too much about it. Parvati added. Still, that's probably why Professor Flitwick banned you from the club. Lyra looked at her brother. And gave you 2 months of detention, Ginny reminded him. I have never seen Professor Flitwick that angry, Hermione commented. Well, as long as he keeps his word and doesn't talk to me again, I'll consider it a small price to pay, said Harry. You don't have to start your detention tomorrow, right? Seamus asked. No, the professor told me I have to start after the break. Why? Please tell me you didn't forget. There's a big Quidditch game tomorrow, Ron exclaimed. You know one you have to play, Seamus added. Right, Harry muttered. He totally forgot, Lyra said. I didn't, said Harry. He did forget about that. I'll be there. Try not to end it too fast. Ginny and I are going to watch you, Lyra said with excitement. I'll do what I can, Harry said. That's what we're afraid of, Ginny mustered. And that's the end of the game. Harry Potter captured the snitch, Jordan announced. Gryffindor wins against Ravenclaw. 50 to how long was it? The announcer asked. The girl next to him. 90 seconds. Bloody hell, that was fast. Jordan, language. McGonagall scolded him before returning her eyes to the field. This may be a problem. On the Gryffindor stands. So was that a record? Seamus asked. No, according to Quidditch Through the Ages, Hogwarts edition, the fastest game ever played was 6 seconds, back in 1956. A player caught the snitch as it was making its initial flight up, Hermione answered. Still, this was the fastest game I have ever seen, Ron said with excitement. I feel a bit sorry for the other players. They didn't get to do anything. Neville commented. Yes, especially the ones on Ravenclaw. Look at the face of their seeker. Lavender pointed. That's Cho Chang. Yes, she looks about ready to murder Harry, Parvati added. I'm glad Mom and Dad didn't come for this. Lyra said. I'll just send them a letter and tell them that Harry won. Doesn't Harry send them letters? Ginny asked. Harry only sends letters to Holly now, Lyra huffed. Ginny raised an eyebrow. Are you jealous? Harry opened the entrance to the foundations and went down the long set of stairs. He then walked through the chamber until he reached his little workshop. There was a lit cauldron with some silvery liquid inside. He peered over and observed its contents. That seems about ready. This was a small batch of magicite that he had started a while ago with the remaining scraps he had. He opened a drawer and pulled out a handkerchief containing 4 small arkstones. This was all he had left from his initial purchase. It was not enough to replace his lost artifacts, but he had a different purpose for these. These will make for a nice present. It was almost the start of the Christmas break, and he had to make something for his sisters. Besides, there were not enough materials to replace his artifacts, and I want to find some better quality materials for my next ones. Since I have to make them again, may as well make a better version of them. He held Lyra's wand firmly in his hand. He had to borrow it again since he is still waiting for his replacement. According to Dumbledore, Fawkes was almost ready to produce a feather for him. Let's get to work. He gave the wand a flick, and the silvery liquid started to levitate out of the cauldron. There was a very small amount of the alloy, but it was enough to produce 2 rings and 1 pendant. Harry proceeded to embed the arkstones and engrave the runes. This time he used a different runic array. These ones were not meant to be used as a magic storage, but to power a single spell engraved on the metal. It was a simpler work compared to the previous one, and he only had to make 3 pieces, but he still put his full focus on the task. Other than the 2 rings and the pendant, he was left with 1 spare arkstone. He had another use for that one. Okay, this is not bad. I think they are going to like it. Harry smiled. He placed the jewels in the individual boxes he had prepared and closed them. His eyes moved to the other side of the table. An old book was resting next to the corner of the table. The words Time and Space were written on its cover. This was the book he requested from Dumbledore. He had been planning on reading it before but did not have the time yet. Maybe I should take a look now. This may have some answers I have been waiting for after all. He opened the cover and started reading. Mr. Potter, the headmaster, would like to see you in his office, Professor McGonagall informed him on Saturday morning. It was a good thing he was alone in the common room. Hermione would have jumped to wild conclusions. Harry was about to order the gargoyle to move out of the way, when he remembered his promise to the headmaster. Let's see. It was wine gums, whatever those are. It was the one that McGonagall had given him. Correct, you may come in. The gargoyle rotated around and revealed a set of stairs. Professor, you wanted to see me. Harry went inside the office and got comfortable. Yes, I wanted to inform you that. Dumbledore pulled something from a drawer. Your new wand core is ready. He placed the pristine phoenix feather on the table. Harry took the feather. Red and orange lights shone over its surface. Thank you, Fawkes. I'll put it to good use. Harry glanced at the phoenix on his perch. He looked completely recovered now. Fawkes gave a cry that Harry interpreted as "You are welcome." Dumbledore smiled for a moment. Yes, we are expecting great things from you, Mr. Potter. However, his smile faded. I do have a less pleasant topic to speak with you about. Let me guess. Is this about my duel with Mr. Malfoy? You think I went too far with my methods? Harry could easily guess. I do admit, that was on my mind. I felt very concerned when I heard what happened during that duel. If it was a normal student, I would not intervene and just let the professors decide on the punishment. But it's you we are talking about. I may not know what you are fully capable of doing, but I'm sure you could have defeated a second-year boy without harming him. So you want to know why? It's simple. I wanted him away from me, and I know how stubborn he can be. A slap on the wrist would not be enough. I had to do something that would really scare him. Harry explained. I still don't understand what reason you have to. Is it perhaps something he did in your future? After all, his family alliances are well on his side. Let's just say, I know what he is capable of. And no, I'm not judging him for what he did in my time. Otherwise he would already be dead. Along with a dozen more students in the school. Dumbledore frowned deeply. He knew Harry was not giving an idle threat, and he really meant his words. You shouldn't judge them for things they haven't done yet. And they may never do. And I'm not. In fact, by keeping him away from me I may be protecting him. But I would not hold my hopes up with that one. From what I have seen, This Draco Malfoy seems to be on a much darker path than the one I knew. Then let us hope that doesn't happen. As headmaster, I must believe that all my students are capable of accomplishing good things and making the world a better place. I think those lemon candies are affecting your head. Dumbledore didn't look pleased with his comment, but Harry ignored him. Now, can you take me to Diagon Alley? I have a wand maker to visit. I will open the Flu network for you. I trust you can manage by yourself. Dumbledore stood up, walked to the fireplace and tapped on it. He then took some Flu powder and threw it inside. Leaky cauldron. Green flames erupted inside the fireplace. To return, just say Hogwarts headmaster. I'll keep the way open until you come back. Very well. Harry stood up from the chair and walked into the flames. And Mr. Potter, I'll trust that you will behave yourself. Dumbledore said in a way that sounded more like a warning. Of course, I always behave. Harry disappeared into the flames. Are you looking forward to going back home? Ginny asked Lyra. The two of them plus Luna had stayed in the Great Hall after finishing their breakfast. Most students had left, so the hall was a nice place to hang out. To be honest, I do miss my home. I can't believe it's only been 3 months since we started school, Lyra admitted. I know what you mean, it has felt like a lot longer. A lot has happened. Ginny gave her a weary smile. Luna didn't know what they meant. The time had passed very fast for her, so she went back to enjoying her pudding. I'm looking forward to Mum's cooking. Not that there is anything bad with Hogwarts, but Ginny said. Yeah, your mum is an amazing cook. Lyra then recalled something. Did you know that Harry can cook too? He does? Ginny looked incredulous. Totally. He makes some amazing breakfast. You and Luna have to come visit during the break. I'm sure that he'll wait. What is that? Lyra pointed up as something flew into the hall. A delivery owl. Someone is getting a present. How nice. Luna exclaimed. Lyra looked around, trying to guess where the owl was going. There were only around 4 or 5 groups of people left in the entire hall. The owl appeared to fly around in circles for a bit, before deciding where it had to go. Wait! It's coming this way, Lyra said. The owl was flying straight at them. No way! Is something for us? Ginny said. The owl landed right in front of Ginny and dropped a small package in front of her. Huh? Is it for me? Ginny found it hard to believe. Her parents wouldn't send her a present now. She was going home in a week. Who could have sent me something? There is one way to find out, you know? Luna pointed out the obvious. She is right. Open it up, Lyra said with excitement. Harry appeared inside the leaky cauldron. It was still early in the morning. So few people were around. Welcome to. Tom stared at Harry with interest. Did you come alone, boy? Tom recognized the Hogwarts uniform. It wasn't that rare to have students coming by during the school year, but the young ones always came accompanied by a teacher. Yes, sir. I'm just going to Ollivander's, Harry answered. You look very young to go alone. Usually they only let those who have passed their OWLs to travel by themselves. Tom pointed out, I am very mature for my age, so they let me go alone, but you can call Hogwarts headmaster through the Flu if you like. Harry cleaned the soot from his clothes. Now if you'll excuse me, I have an old man to visit. Tom stared at him as he left but didn't say anything. Then he glanced at the fireplace. The streets of Diagon Alley were very lively already. It was almost mid-December, so it was normal to see more people doing shopping than usual. Harry disregarded the stairs and made a beeline to Ollivander's. Today he had no other business in the alley and wanted to get this done quickly. When he entered the shop, Ollivander was already attending to someone, a tall woman with long dark hair and elegant clothes. He could recognize the acromantula silk and gold threads on her tunic, indicating that this was probably a lady from a wealthy magical family. I don't know which one would be better. She seemed troubled about deciding something. Ollivander averted his gaze from her and looked at Harry. Welcome, young one. I will be with you in a moment. The woman turned around and looked at Harry. When he saw her face, Harry was surprised at how beautiful this woman was. She appeared to be around his mother's age, with a perfectly proportioned face, dark eyes, and a kind smile. Hello, young man. I'm sorry for taking this long. Oh, perhaps you can help me. Help with? Harry asked. You see, my daughter wanted to pick up a gift for a boy around your age. We decided on one of these wand holders, but I cannot settle on which one to choose, the troubled woman said. So you want me to help you choose a holster? Harry glanced at the 3 pieces on top of the table. He was familiar with those: dragon hide, fire crab shell and troll skin. Harry enunciated, "Very good, young man. You have a good eye." Ollivander nodded in approval. Crab shell is immune to fire and very resistant to physical damage, while troll and dragon hide are extremely resistant to magic in general. Unless this boy is going to be working with dragons on a regular basis, I would discard that one. And between troll and dragon, I would 100% choose dragon hide. It's a bit more difficult to carve enchantments on it, but worth the trouble. I would suggest an invisibility enchant if he is still in school. Most schools would not allow holsters to be used. Wow, you are a very knowledgeable young man. The black-haired lady looked impressed. She moved her eyes to Ollivander. I'll take the dragonhide one. The old man placed the holster in an elegant box and the lady paid for it. Thank you for your help, young man. I hope we meet again. She then walked to the door before stopping when she realized she had forgotten to ask for his name. Mr. Potter, ebony 11 inches and phoenix core, isn't it? Ollivander asked with a knowing smile. It used to be, at least, Harry muttered. Is there something else, my lady? Ollivander asked, noticing that she had remained at the entrance while looking towards them. Harry turned around and noticed the woman staring at him with intense eyes. She then looked at the old man. No, that would be all. Thank you, Mr. Ollivander. And you too, Mr. Potter. She gave him a mysterious smile and walked out of the door. Who was that woman? Her face was somewhat familiar. Harry So, Mr. Potter, what can I do for you? I hope the wand I sold you is serving you well. Actually, no, that's why I'm here. I am in need of a new wand. Harry may have been able to word that better. Pardon? Ollivander looked shocked. What happened to the one I sold you? Did it break? Well, yes, it did break, Harry admitted. Show it to me, then I'm sure I can repair it in no time, Ollivander promised. Not this one, Harry thought. No, you see, there is nothing left of the wand. It's all gone, including the core. The core is gone too? That's impossible. Phoenix feathers are one of the most resistant materials in the world. No magic performed by a young student could completely destroy it. Now tell me the truth, Mr. Potter. What happened to the wand? Did you misplace it? You want the truth? Fine. I activated a runic artifact that allowed me to channel through it the combined magical power equivalent of dozens of wizards, and used this power to create a flame so hot that it burned the hydrogen from the atmosphere, manifesting something akin to a miniature sun or a small nuclear explosion. Then I employed this flame to exterminate a basilisk half the size of Hogwarts. This amount of magic was too much for the wand and it turned into dust. Core included. Ollivander stared at him for an entire minute before speaking again. I guess I am out of touch after all. I don't understand the jests of the current youth. No, that wasn't a joke. Very well, Mr. Potter. I understand. I will make another wand. But only if you promise me to take better care of this one. Wands are not tools to abuse and throw away. They must be respected, Ollivander said with a stern expression. Harry gave up on arguing with this man. It was better this way. Sure, I promise. Maybe I should open it in our room, said Ginny. No, open it here, Luna demanded. After all, she could not go into the Gryffindor common room. I can't wait that long, Ginny. Come on, exclaimed Lyra. Okay, fine. Stop shaking me, Ginny complained to her friend. She undid the package, revealing an elegant black box with intricate gold designs. So pretty. Lyra stared at the box in awe. It is, Ginny was surprised. Even if this box turned out to be empty, it would still be the fanciest present she had ever received in her life. There is a letter on top. Nah, that seems familiar. Luna pointed at the top part of the box. Lyra and Ginny observed it up close, and immediately recognized that symbol. It can't be the same one, right? Lyra asked. She had seen a symbol just like that one very recently. Nimbus, Ginny concluded. It was the same N that she saw on that box that Harry received. It seems like a small box for a broom though, Luna commented. Don't be silly, it can't be a broom. Maybe they also make other things, Lyra said. Let's see. Ginny opened the fancy box with care. Her hands were shaking with excitement, wondering what could be inside. Whoa! The three girls said in unison. The sight did not disappoint them. Inside the box, resting on a velvet cushion, was a golden chain. The metal was so well polished that it almost seemed to sparkle under the light. At the end of the chain was a miniature broom. I stand corrected, there was a broom inside after all. Luna admitted defeat. You think this is real gold? Ginny touched the chain. Lara did the same. It does seem like it. She did not seem very impressed with the gold. After all, she already had several pieces of jewelry made of gold. She was more interested in the broom itself. Unlike the chain, the broom did not seem to be made of gold or any other metal. It looks like it's made of wood, Lyra pointed out. It seems a miniature of the same model as Harry got. I can even see the number, and I think there is something else written there, Ginny said. A perfect replica, Luna nodded. But don't try to ride it, she advised. I wasn't going to. It's a beautiful necklace. Ginny seemed delighted with the present. But I wonder who sent it. Is there a note or something? No, but wait. There is a paper here. Lyra pulled a piece of paper that was stuck to the inside of the lid. Don't leave us hanging. Ginny is about to explode. Luna exclaimed. I'm not, she huffed. But please read the note. Let's see. Place the broom on the palm of your hand and say the magical word, Lyra said.
What was that?
Ginny asked in confusion. That's what the note says. Lyra showed it to Ginny and glanced at the miniature broom. That sounds like instructions, Ginny pointed out. And what happens next? Luna asked. It doesn't say what it does, but this magic word, I think I know it, Lyra said. Just try it then, Luna urged her. Okay. Ginny took the broom necklace out of the box and placed it in the palm of her hand. What was the word? Is written down here. I think it's better if you read it yourself. Just in case. Lyra handed the note to Ginny. Ginny stared at the single word marked with a rectangle, Ingorgia. As soon as Ginny said the word, the small broom in her hand made a cracking noise and instantly grew in size, knocking several of the cups they had on the table. What? The girls became startled. This is a real broom. It must have some sort of enchantment to make it small, Lyra realized. Ginny stared at the broom in her hands. There was something written on the side of it. Nimbus 2001 for Ginny. Your name is engraved and everything. That's very impressive. Luna said, but if I remember correctly, first years are not allowed to have a broom in school. Lyra gasped. She is right, you need to hide it. If a professor sees it, they will take it away. Ginny hurried to hide the broom under the table and glanced around the hall to see if anyone had noticed. Luckily for them, the few groups in the hall were too busy in their own conversations to pay attention to what was going on elsewhere. Ginny sighed in relief. No one saw us, but how are we going to take it to our room? This is too big to hide. Let me see that paper again. Lyra took the paper and read it again. Here it is. There is a way to make it small again. How? Ginny said with urgency. Lyra showed her the paper and pointed at the lowest part. Another magical word had been marked with a rectangle. Reducio. As the words came out of Ginny's lips, the broom seemed to disappear for a moment. It worked, Ginny said with excitement as she raised her palm up and showed them the miniature broom, still attached to the gold chain. That's amazing, Lyra said. This is the best thing ever, Ginny exclaimed with joy. A very useful gift. I wish we knew who sent it, Luna said. The note doesn't say anything else. Ginny placed the broom back in its box and went back to examine the note. Other than the instruction to enlarge and reduce the broom, there was nothing there. But then Ginny turned the paper around. There is something written on the back. The girls leaned in to see the text. An easy-to-hide broom for a sneaky witch. The train came to a halt at its destination, and the students descended onto the station. Harry! He was promptly tackled by his little sister as soon as he stepped on solid ground. Harry placed down his luggage and hugged the young girl. Hello, Holly. I missed you too. And what about me? Lyra stood at their side with her fists clenched at her sides, and an expression of displeasure. That would be difficult. I just saw you a minute ago, Harry told her. Yes, he just saw you, Holly pouted. Get your own brother, the little girl said while pointing at Lyra. Lyra was flabbergasted. I was talking to you. Lyra stared at her sister. And what do you mean by get your own brother? He is my brother. Lyra pulled on Harry's arm. No, mine. Holly pulled on his other arm. Okay, what is going on? Harry did not understand how the situation had degraded to this. What happened to those two? They used to get along so well. James approached the group. Daddy. Lyra let go of Harry and jumped onto her father's arms. James grinned. Hello, dear. He then gave Harry a glance. Hey, son. How was school? You know, mostly normal for Hogwarts, Harry told him. James's face became serious. He could tell there was more to it than his son was letting on. We can talk more at home. Your mother was busy preparing things, so she sent me here alone. Their father took the three of them home after saying their goodbyes to their classmates. Mom. Lyra ran through the kitchen and almost tackled her mother in the same way that Holly did to Harry. Lyra, careful, I was holding a knife, Lily complained. Oh, Lyra now noticed it. Sorry, Dad. Said that you were busy preparing something. What are you doing? She looked behind her mother. There was a cutting board with several vegetables being cut. As you can see, I was preparing dinner, Lily said with a warm smile before looking at Harry. Hello, Harry dear. Hi, Mom. Are you cooking alone? Harry asked. Mom, why are you doing this yourself? We have two house elves. Lyra looked confused. I wouldn't count Dobby for cooking, Harry muttered. We do, but I like to do some things by myself sometimes. Maybe it's because I grew up in a muggle house, Lily told her daughter. Didn't seem like she understood it yet. I'll go leave my things in my room, Harry said before making his way to his room and closing the door behind him. Dobby, he called. The elf appeared immediately with a loud pop sound. Master Harry, sir. Welcome home. Thank you, Dobby. Harry sat down at his desk and started to pull some small containers out of the secret pockets of his robes and placed them on top of the table. Dobby approached and glanced at them with curiosity. One of the containers was an inconspicuous white box, while the other two were made of glass and had some vials with liquid inside them. The box contained the two intact basilisk eyes that Harry had secured, and the glass ones had the vials of basilisk blood and venom that Snape had collected from the chamber. I expected the old man to complain more before giving me these. Master Harry, what are these things? Dobby pointed at the container and asked. But he then realized something. Oh no, Dobby bad, should not ask master questions. The panicked elf was about to smack his head against the table when Harry had to stop him using his hands. Enough, Dobby, I already told you before to stop punishing yourself, Harry said with authority. Dobby seemed to come to his senses. Yes, Master Sir Harry Potter. Harry glanced back at the containers. These are some rare ingredients that I have recently acquired, and by rare I mean illegal, so no one can know I have these. Do you understand, Dobby? The elf nodded vigorously. Dobby understands. Harry was sure that Dobby must have done a lot of shady stuff for Malfoy, so he must be used to this kind of thing. Do you remember the place where you hid all the things we took from the bad master? Dobby knows. Harry nodded. Good, I need you to take these 3 containers and very carefully bring them to that place. I will have need of them soon enough. Dobby can do, Harry Potter, Master Sir. Okay. Harry sighed. For some reason Dobby still had difficulty in keeping his name consistent. Dobby took the containers with care and disappeared from his room. Harry lay on his bed and closed his eyes. He felt tired after the long journey home, especially after being forced into the same cabin as his sister, Ginny, Hermione, Lavender and Parvati. That felt like a lot more than 6 hours. Maybe I can rest a bit before dinner. All of a sudden, he heard someone trying to open his door, followed by a series of loud bangs on it. Harry, let's play, Holly screamed. Never mind then, Harry sighed. How was your first impression of Hogwarts? Did you like it? Lily asked Lyra during dinner. It was fun, I mean, for the most part. She kept stealing glances at Harry. How subtle, Harry thought. Yes, that business with the tremors was quite awful. It was lucky that no one got seriously hurt, said Lily. Dumbledore told us the matter has been resolved, said James. A planetary alignment was interfering with the wards. Apparently, Lily said with a doubtful expression. Is that what truly happened? James looked at Harry and Lyra. Well, I mean, the headmaster said, and I didn't see much. Lyra stammered the words. She was told to say nothing about the matter. No, that's not what truly happened. Just a simple explanation the headmaster gave to the masses to calm them down. Harry decided to assist his sister since he knew his parents would want a better explanation. Harry? Lyra looked at him with confusion, thinking her brother wanted to keep everything secret like the headmaster. Oh? And what was the cause for all that trouble? Asked James. Just some big scary creature that was bumping around near the castle foundations and making it shake, Harry explained. Lyra raised an eyebrow at the simplified explanation. Describing the monster they saw as a big scary creature was not exactly inaccurate, but it felt like downplaying it a bit too much. There's a big scary creature in Hogwarts? Holly doesn't want to go there again, the little girl cried. Harry gently patted her head. It's okay, the scary creature is gone now. Your brother chased it away. Really? Holly asked. Really, Harry reassured her. She then seemed to recall something important. Oh, like Neville Longbottom in the cursed castle. That made Harry chuckle. He was being compared to the fictional version of the alternative boy who lived. Something like that, he ended up saying. Lyra, can you take Holly out for a bit? We need to speak with Harry alone for a moment, Lily said with a serious expression. But I haven't finished eating yet, Lyra complained. It will only take 10 minutes. Please, James said. I want dessert, Holly proclaimed. Go with your sister Holly, and when you come back you can have as much dessert as you want. Nipsey has prepared some delicious tarts, Lily told her. Yes, let's go. Holly dragged Lyra out of the kitchen. Lyra seemed like she wanted to complain but kept her mouth shut. Instead she gave Harry and her parents a suspicious look, wondering how much they knew about Harry's abilities and how much they weren't telling her. So, Lily started once they were alone. About this scary monster you mentioned, can you tell us the truth? Yes, I confess, it's actually dead. I just told Holly that I chased it away because she's 6, said Harry. This is serious, Harry, James said sternly. We haven't forgotten about the things you told us about your past. Yes, and there was one particular creature you mentioned fighting during your original second year. A basilisk, Lily said. Is that the beast you mentioned now? Did you go to the Chamber of Secrets again? James asked. Yes, I did, Harry admitted. You fought that basilisk alone again, Lily exclaimed. I did, but this time it was easier, he answered nonchalantly. Why didn't you call for help? You already knew what was down there, James asked angrily. Help from who? I was the most qualified to fight a giant basilisk. No one else had experience with something like that. But I did, Harry reasoned. They had no argument against that. Fine, but what about him? Was he also involved in this? James asked, referring to Voldemort. Of course Harry knew he was talking about Voldemort. He told them about the cursed diary and how it was used to possess a student he didn't identify to open the chamber. No, this time things were very different in that regard. That man had nothing to do with this. But then, who opened the chamber to awaken the basilisk? Asked Lily. That's the thing. It awoke by itself and started to cause trouble. So I opened the chamber and went inside to deal with it. This time there was no diary or possessed student writing on the walls. It awoke by itself. How? James knew there was something else to this story. I still don't know for sure. It was true, he didn't understand it completely. What happened in that chamber still remains mostly a mystery to him. He had hoped to find some answers in the book that Dumbledore gave him, but he has only managed to read a small part of it so far. The book is actually a compilation of different people's work, all put together in one tome. There were chapters written during completely different eras, by people living in different places. It's an absolute mess as every part is written using a different language. He understood the parts in Latin and somewhat understood the parts in Old Gaelic, but the Sumerian and ancient hieroglyphics would give him a lot of trouble to translate. And that was the easy part. There were languages that he couldn't even identify. It was going to take him a while to translate everything and then study its contents. I'm looking into it, he finally said. His parents remained silent for a minute. There is something you are not telling us, said Lily. There are many things I'm not telling you, but you will have to trust that I have the best intentions to do so, Giving you random information that even I am not sure is correct will benefit no one. Harry told them. Very well, I can accept that, Lily nodded. On the other side of the kitchen door, unbeknownst to them, someone was listening to their entire conversation. Original second year? Harry had already fought that basilisk before. Who is that man? What diary are they talking about? Lyra heard most of what they said, but nothing made much sense to her right now. However, this confirmed her suspicions that something major had happened to her brother to make him change so much. And it wasn't just hitting his head very hard. And Mom and Dad know about it. December 25, early morning. Presents, Holly screamed while running down the stairs. Stop running. You're going to fall. Lily chased after her. Lyra sighed. When is she going to stop going crazy like that for presents? You were doing the same thing until just a few years ago, James teased her, and Harry chuckled. Lyra became visibly embarrassed at this. I did not, she replied. James laughed loudly. But you did. I remember you used to say, Daddy, Daddy, let's go. I want to open the presents, and then you would take off running, and your mother chased after you. She made a dissatisfied expression. That was all in the past, Daddy. I mean, Dad. I am soon to be 12 years old and a Hogwarts student, so I'm almost a grown-up, she said smugly. Sure you are, dear, James said with a smile. Harry wondered what being a Hogwarts student had to do with anything. When he crossed the doorway into the living room, he spotted Holly already circling the Christmas tree, collecting every box with her name on it. By the time Lyra, James and he arrived at the tree, Holly was struggling to carry away a pile of boxes. Let me help you with that. Harry knelt down, picked up the biggest boxes, and carried them to a nearby couch. Holly sat down and started tearing open the presents. He gave a sidelong glance to the tree, where his other sister was searching for her own presents with a face of pure joy. Harry, help! Holly seemed to be having trouble with one of the big boxes. Harry stayed with her and assisted her while she unveiled a good variety of presents, including clothes, toys and books. Finally, she opened the smallest present of them all. After removing the wrapping paper, she revealed a simple-looking wooden box about the size of his fist. That one is from me, said Harry. He could have made a more beautiful box, but it was a conjured object. And like all conjured objects, it would only last for a short period of time before disappearing. From brother, Holly stared at him. This got the attention of the other family members who were curious to see what he had gifted her. Go ahead, open the box. The present is inside, Harry told her. So pretty. Inside there was a pendant made of silvery blue metal with a brilliant stone embedded in it. It had a circular shape, and around it were runic symbols. Attached to it was a simple chain made of the same metal. Oh, that must have cost you quite a few coins, said James. Lily and Lyra moved closer to take a better look at the object. Lyra's eyes widened as she recognized the design. Lily, on the other hand, stared at the pendant with curiosity. She did not recognize the stone or the metal it was made of. Its surface shone like silver, but it had a bluish tint to it that made it look like it was radiating with magic. Where did you get this? What is it made of? Are those runes? What do they do? She started bombarding him with questions. For a second it reminded him of an old friend with bushy hair. I made it myself. It is made of a special alloy called magicite. Yes, those are runes. As for what they do, it may be better if I demonstrate it. It looks a lot like your earrings. Did you also make them? Lyra asked. Can you make some for me? Earrings? Asked James. Never mind that. Harry brushed their questions away. Magic. I have never. Oh, I see. Lily stopped talking when she realized. If Harry had made it himself, it had to be something that he learned in his future, so she decided not to ask in front of her daughters. The rune cluster looks very intricate and well made, James said, impressed. He was not a master at runes, but in order to become an aura one needed to have at least an advanced knowledge of them. So you are skilled at writing runes too. Perhaps you could give your mother some tips, Lily whispered in his ear. I'm barely decent with that stuff, but sure, he replied. He could not call himself skilled at runes when he had met people like Hermione or Luna who could run laps around him in that field of magic. But he did have a lot of knowledge that didn't exist in this era, so it's not like he couldn't teach anything to his mother. And what does it do? Lyra asked. Does it shine? Exclaimed Holly. It wouldn't be very impressive if it only did that. Harry glanced at Lyra. Why don't you bring yours and I'll give you a demonstration? I got one too, Lyra asked excitedly. Yes, but they are a bit different, said Harry. I believe it's that small box over there. He pointed. Wait, you want to do a demonstration here in the living room? James asked with concern. He knew how destructive Harry could be. Harry, you can't do magic outside of school, did you forget about that? Lily reminded him. I already removed the trace, Harry said nonchalantly. What? Lily looked outraged. Of course he did, James sighed. Let's see. Harry looked at the coffee table next to the couch where he was sitting. There was a small box made of oak that was used to store sweets. He carefully emptied the box and placed it back on the table. What are you going to do with that? Lyra asked. While his family looked on with interest, Harry tapped the box with his wand. The box started to change shape until it became a small humanoid golem, around 30 centimeters tall, 11.8 inches. It had no facial features to be seen, just a pair of legs and 2 hands with 4 stubby fingers on each hand. Its body was composed of the same light-colored wood as the box it was created from. Wow! What is that? Holly stared at the tiny golem with wide eyes. That's kinda cute. Lily smiled. Very impressive. But what is it going to do? Asked James. The golem looked up at Harry and extended its arms with its palms up. It looks like he wants something from Harry, said Lyra. Holly, he needs to borrow the pendant for a moment, Harry told his sister. He wants this? Holly held up the pendant and glanced at the golem. You want this? She asked it. Of course the golem did not have the capability to answer, so it just waited. Harry used his connection with the construct and made it move its little head to nod several times. Whoa, he said yes. She placed the pendant on its palms and wrapped the chain around it. Okay, you can borrow it, but don't lose it. My brother gave it to me. Lily and James chuckled at seeing their daughter talk with the golem. The construct turned around and walked to the end of the table before jumping down. Where is he going? Asked Lyra. The little golem took off running with the pendant in its hands, startling the 2 young girls, but then stopped once it had reached an empty part of the living room. Okay, we can do the demonstration now. Stay where you are, don't go close to the golem, said Harry while pointing his wand at the little construct. Harry, you're not going to shoot that little guy, right? Lyra asked with concern. Stupefied, Harry shot a red spark of light before his parents could say anything. They all saw the red spark fly at the golem, but before it could impact it, a white light emerged from the pendant and deflected Harry's spell. It shines, exclaimed Holly. A semisphere made of white light covered the golem completely, enveloping it in a protective cocoon of sorts. What is that? Lily asked. Some sort of protective charm, but I've never seen one like this. James added. Is a sanctuarium. It is indeed a protective charm. A very powerful one at that. It can stop any attack, magical or physical, including the unforgivable curses, for a limited amount of time, Harry claimed. That thing can stop the unforgivable curses. Harry, that's impossible, James said. Unlike the Protego charm, this forms a physical barrier. Harry conjured a knife and threw it at the white dome. The knife bounced off and landed on the floor. Unforgivable curses can go through magical barriers, but not physical objects, Lily realized. Is Golly okay in there? Holly asked with worry. You gave it a name already. Lyra glanced at her sister. The golem is perfectly okay. As I said, nothing except the most destructive spells can go through that barrier. For a protection this powerful, there have to be some downsides, said Lily. Of course there are. It has several. In fact, the most important is that the person being protected by the sanctuary becomes trapped inside until the spell wears off. There is also little to no visibility in there. It only lasts for a short duration, maybe 5 minutes. It depends on what is being hit by, Harry explained. So you cannot be harmed, but you cannot escape either, and once the effect is over, you become an easy target. I see now. James was planning on asking Harry to teach him this charm, but these downsides made it impossible to use during a fight. This is meant to protect those who cannot protect themselves, Lily realized. This was the perfect thing to use on a vulnerable target, like a child or an injured ally who can't fight back. Yes, if anything were to happen, this will keep her safe, while you deal with the threat. That's the idea at least. I hope you never have to use it, Harry said in a lower voice. You put a lot of thought into this. Thank you, Harry, Lily said with a warm smile. They waited a bit longer, and after 5 minutes the white barrier disappeared, revealing the little golem completely intact inside, still holding onto the pendant. Golly! Holly went running and grabbed the golem like a doll. It was very light since it was made from a wooden box. How can she get attached so quickly? Lyra exclaimed. The pendant Arkstone will need 24 hours to recharge before it can be activated again, Harry explained. Does mine work the same? Asked Lyra. No, yours has a different charm. Harry took Lyra's ring and put it on one of his fingers. He moved the hand in front of his face with the ring pointing outwards. All you have to do is channel a bit of your magic into it to activate it. A translucent shield appeared in front of Harry. That's a Protego charm, James recognized immediately. It is. The charm is shaped like a shield and can be moved around. He demonstrated it by moving his hand. It is a lot less powerful than the one from before, but you can move around and use it to block and deflect while attacking. He then deactivated the shield and returned the ring to her. It may take some practice to use, but you'll get the hang of it. Why is mine different? Asked Lyra. Harry looked at his sister and lifted his wand up. Because, unlike Holly, you have the tools to defend yourself. You just need to learn how to use them. But Professor Lockhart hasn't taught us anything yet, Lyra exclaimed. Not even the flipendo? Asked James. What's that? Lyra asked.
Yes, that man is useless.
But don't worry, I'll teach you a few things next summer, Harry promised her. I want to have a talk with Dumbledore about his selection process for teachers, Lily grumbled. It's time for you to open your presents, Harry, his mother told him. That's right, you haven't opened any yet, and I can see that you have many. James gave him a mischievous smile. Harry, Holly came running to him with the little golem in her hands. The golem was still holding her pendant. Can I keep him? Holly, Harry sighed. He gave her a piece of priceless jewelry that contained magical technology yet to be invented, and she was more interested in a wooden golem that any senior Hogwarts student could make. I mean, she is 6, and now I have to explain to her that this golem is not going to last long. Holly, dear. Lily must have noticed his issue and approached her daughter. Harry made the golem using transfiguration. He transformed the candy box to make it look like this little fellow, but it will soon go back to looking like what it was before. Holly gasped. He's going to become a box. It was a box to begin with. Transfiguration can temporarily turn things into other things, but eventually everything has to go back to being what it was, said James. Holly didn't seem convinced yet. Is there no way to make it permanent? Asked Lyra, trying to help her sister. I wouldn't say permanent, Harry spoke. But as long as you supply a source of magic, you can extend the transfiguration indefinitely. I remember reading a story about a dark wizard who caught his wife cheating and turned her into a pig, then using an unknown method, proceeded to maintain the transfiguration for over a decade until she died. Yikes. Lyra looked disgusted. Harry, that was hardly an appropriate story, Lily complained. But it does give me an idea. He approached Holly. You know, Holly, why don't you give me some time and I will make a more permanent golem for you? He was lacking the materials at the moment. Really? And Golly won't have to go away? Holly asked. I suppose not. I'll have it ready for your birthday. I promise. Holly looked down at the golem. Okay. She placed the golem back on the table and waved it goodbye. Are you sure you can make that? Lily whispered to him. Of course, who do you take me for? He felt offended at the doubt. Lily chuckled. She found it amusing seeing how prideful her son was when it came to magic. Well then, it's time for Harry to open his presents, James said. Presents? Holly exclaimed. He said, Harry, you already opened all of yours. Lyra told her sister. Why don't you help me open some then? Harry offered while looking at the pile of boxes. He did not expect to get this many. Other than his parents, there were presents from Hermione, Neville, Daphne, and Parkinson. Lyra read the label on the box. She sent you another present? Did you say Parkinson? James said with a frown. Pansy Parkinson. She is a girl from Slytherin, Lyra clarified. She did not know why her father reacted like that. And what did this girl send you? Lily asked with curiosity. Harry opened the box, revealing a beautifully crafted wand holster made of dragon hide. He also noticed the runic engravings. This is the same model that's who she was. It also has an invisibility enchantment like mine. That's not a bad gift. Those holsters are very expensive, said Lily. That's nothing compared to the Nimbus 2001 she gave him earlier this month. Lyra commented. What? James probably said it louder than he originally intended. Harry, why didn't you mention this? That girl gave you a new Nimbus. Harry, that's a very pricey gift, even for a wealthy family like theirs. Why would she do that? Asked Lily. We don't know either, Lyra exclaimed. He won't talk about it. She gave Harry a quick glance. Harry, you're not, like with this girl, Lily muttered. Please stop, Harry groaned. It's nothing like that. I just saved her when she fell from the stands on the day of my first Quidditch game. And she said she owed me a great debt. That's all. That happened? Why didn't I hear of that? Lyra asked. Because I told no one, and I guess Slytherin girls don't like to gossip as much as Lavender. Harry opened the present that Daphne sent him. It was a very elegant black robe with silver decorations and made of acromantula silk. Oh, that's so nice. Lily got closer. Daphne has good taste. Wait, we're not done with the whole Parkinson stuff, James huffed. What does Dad have against the Parkinsons? Lyra asked her mother. Lily made a complicated expression. Well, let's just say that he and Lord Parkinson don't get along. That was quite an understatement. Lyra was not dumb. She knew there was more to it. Her father would not react so strongly otherwise. Yes, we don't get along, James coughed. That's a shame. Lyra glanced at the robes. So Harry is not going to attend Parkinson's party then? Because those robes would have been great for it. What? Shouted James. What party? Lily looked at her son. Right, about that. There is a party in 3 days. Prinzy's birthday, and I have been invited, Harry admitted.
When were you planning on telling us?
Lily asked with disapproval in her eyes. Tomorrow, Harry said. He wasn't really planning on telling them until the last moment because he knew how his father was going to react. Harry, come to my studio, we need to talk. James looked furious. Something like that, Harry thought. Very well. James sat at his desk. We can talk properly now. What are you plotting now? Plotting? Please, Dad. I thought you knew me better at this point. I don't engage in plots. I simply stumbled upon an opportunity by chance and made use of it. Harry settled into a comfortable chair in front of James. And this opportunity is the party Lyra mentioned? James didn't look pleased. It is. How can I say no when I have the chance to locate the Lion's Den? Not that I expect the party to be held at Parkinson's main manor, but at least one of his vacation houses. I thought we agreed that you would discuss things with me and your mother before taking action against those people. The order is active again. We are making progress, Harry sighed. As I said, I didn't plan for this. It's something that happened. Fine, let's move on from that. What do you intend to do at that party exactly? James inquired. You know, meet people, observe who's associated with Parkinson's, and gather some names. Perhaps I could discreetly explore the house during the party, and see if I find anything of interest. Harry wished he still had the invisibility cloak. It would have been very useful for that. Wait, you were planning on going there alone? James realized Harry hadn't mentioned what he or Lily would be doing. Of course I would go alone. You are openly an enemy of Lord Parkinson, and Mom was nearly kidnapped by men sent by him. I won't put her in danger like that, Harry said firmly. And what about you? You would also be in danger. James frowned, displeased with the idea. Not as much as you two. I'm just an ordinary child as far as Lord Parkinson is concerned, and I'm attending as a guest of his heir Pansy Parkinson after saving her life. It wouldn't reflect well on him if he attacked me under those circumstances. You don't know him like I do. That man is ruthless. I wouldn't put it past him to try to kidnap you anyway just to get to me. I did consider that possibility, of course, but I will have my wand and know how to use it. It's not like I'm defenseless, Harry said. It would have been nice to still have his artifact. It was unfortunate to have lost that one. It was going to take a while before he could make another one. Just your wand? I know you are good, but that may not be enough. James stood from his desk and walked to a nearby cabinet. Harry glanced at him, wondering what he was looking for. Let's see. I think I still had some. Oh, there they are. James walked back to the desk with a plain-looking container. He then opened it up in front of Harry, revealing 2 black marbles inside. These are. Upon closer inspection, he noticed that the marbles were actually glass containers and some thick black liquid was inside. If you throw one of these to the ground, it will create a dark fog that could cover a big area, giving you a chance to escape. We always bring some of these items when we are expecting an enemy ambush. It can save your life if you find yourself outnumbered, James explained. That seems useful, said Harry. Didn't the twins invent something like this in my time? It's kinda weird seeing it here now, but theirs was a bit different. Who came up with these? He decided to ask. James smiled proudly. It was your mother. She did. Harry knew his mother was talented at many branches of magic, including potions, but it was still surprising to hear. You should bring a broom with you. Combined with the smoke potion, it will give you an easy escape, James suggested. I will, but I'm sure it will not be necessary. Always prepare, Harry. For a moment his father sounded like Alastor Moody. Always. He nodded. You mentioned before that the Order of the Phoenix is back on working. What progress did you make? James made a complicated expression. Well, we are still gathering some of the former members, but we have more information on Lord Parkinson. Arthur was able to find out some things like which lords are the closest ones to him. That will help us find more if we investigate the people around him. And those lords are? Harry questioned. Walder McNair and Edward Nott are always next to him and accompany him everywhere. They are like his left and right arms. Evan Rosier and Corvin Yaxley are seen around him very frequently, but not as much as the others. Sorry, Dad, but that's not much. I know, but we are making progress. Besides, it is doubtful that he will make any bold moves now. With Malfoy dead, all eyes are now on him as the leader of the conservative faction, James told him. I'm not worried about him trying to take over the country by force. I'm sure he doesn't have the magical prowess from the real Voldemort. Otherwise it would be over already. But you need to keep an eye on other creatures like werewolves, giants and trolls. He may try to recruit them to do the heavy work. James smiled. You are suggesting the exact same thing that Dumbledore did. Well, you know, we both know a lot about that man. That is what he would do, and Lord Parkinson has served him for many years, so he must also be familiar with his methods. James nodded. You can leave that to us. I guess you have a party to go now.